morning and welcome to AARP's fitness series, Moving It. I'm Sandy, a volunteer with AARP. Moving It has 3 programs to help you keep fit. Our program today is Tai Chi, and that will be delivered by the Jewish Community Center instructors on Thursdays normally on Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. Our second program is Forever Fit, which has been developed and will be delivered by the Jewish Community Center of St. Louis. This program takes place every Monday at 10:30 a.m. And our final program, Moving with Val, will be on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. on AARP Missouri Facebook and the YouTube channel. Now, this fitness series is open to anyone, anywhere, so tell your friends and family. Moving It is a part of our overall program, The Good Life with AARP, which provides you with tips, ideas, and experiences to help you live your best life. I encourage you to check out other programs by going to aarp.org/Missouri. Okay, if we don't have any other questions, then I guess we can get started, Shelley. Oh, but I do want to remind you that our regular Tai Chi class scheduled for Thursday, December the 31st, will be on Tuesday, the 29th at 10:30 a.m. It's the same time, just a different date. And also this information is also stated on your Tai Chi reminder. Okay, we can get started.
Okay, great. So I'm starting to recognize everyone's names, but I'll just go ahead and reintroduce myself as Shelley Schrey, and I'm a Tai Chi instructor with the Jewish Community Center in St. Louis. And I've been doing Tai Chi since 1983, and I've been teaching since about 1991. So I've been doing this a long time, and I have taught everyone from, I think the youngest student I had was 13 and my eldest was 96. This form is called the Tai Chi Fundamentals, and it was created by Trisha Yu, Y-U. And last week, I think I put her information on the chat. I can do it again if you need me to. So Trisha Yu has a video of her form. It's a modified form from the Yang style family, which is the form that I've been studying for, upward of 30 years. So we're going to start off with some warm-ups. And just again, for a little context here, Tai Chi was created many, many years ago. Initially practiced as a martial art, and people still do practice the martial art applications. As a martial art, Tai Chi does not depend on strength. It depends on sensitivity and timing. And the cultivation of that is what makes it such a healthy practice. Okay, so the 5 principles that we're working on, there are 4 related to movement: relaxing, breath, mind, body. That's the hardest and the most important. Staying relaxed, keeping your body upright, separating the weight while staying relaxed, keeping the body upright. 4th is waist is the commander, moving from here. And the 5th, which is not related to movement, in particular to this teaching tradition, is what we call Lady's Beautiful Hand or Lady's Beautiful Wrist. And that is, we keep the wrist not bent. If you just look up Tai Chi, you'll see this posture in our form, push, and it's often done like this with the wrist bent. And Professor, who shortened the Yang form, and that's my teaching lineage, was also a Chinese physician. And he really emphasized the open wrist, no tension in the joints, and that allows the chi to flow. But also from a martial standpoint, if a joint is locked, if you have tension or rigidity in the body, then it's vulnerable to breakage. And as I say, as a martial art, Tai Chi emphasizes yielding, receiving your partner's energy, and then redirecting it back at them, or the waist turn, guiding it elsewhere. Okay, so the basic movement patterns, part 1. So we're going to start with our feet in small V. When I'm facing you, I'll be doing the mirror image. And I do it both ways because, some people works better this way and some people works better with my, when we're facing the same direction, even though you can't see as well. So from point, our feet are in a small V. And when we're in point, we're just taking the time to settle, kind of put the rest of the day and whatever else is going on aside. Allow your attention to be more internally focused. So you're more internally aware. You're paying attention to your natural rhythm of breathing. In Tai Chi, we breathe through the nose. So let the tip of your tongue very gently touch the roof of your mouth with the lips closed. And the tongue gently curved and touching the roof of the mouth with the lips closed, your teeth really can't touch. So you can't inadvertently grind or clench the teeth. Relax the belly, relax the breath, relax the body. Pay attention to how your feet feel. They should be fully relaxed, like they're melded into the floor. Okay, now we're going to bend the knees and hips, sinking all the weight into the right foot. Step out with the left foot, hip width distance with the toes pointed straight ahead. And it's fine to look at your feet if you're not sure where that is. You want to set the foot down flat and then shift the weight. Allow your hips to line up with the right foot. Now turn your waist, turn this whole area to the front, pivoting on the center of the heel. That's how we get the feet to be parallel. Shift to the middle, and as we rise, just place the hands very gently on the lower abdomen, right here. Feet relaxed. And this is the first basic movement pattern of just relaxed breathing. Again, taking the time to be more internally aware and focused and allowing your body and your mind to relax. Relax is different than collapsed. I like the phrase relaxed attentiveness because you're aware. You're aware of your breathing. You're aware of the shape of your body, the position of your body, the full three-dimensionality of your body. Imagine that your feet are connected to the earth, the energy of your body, the weight sinking deep into the earth through the center of the bottom of the foot, this area where the roughly where the arch is. Chinese call the Yung Chuan the bubbling well. Okay, so energetically that connects you to the earth. Top of the head, spot up here called the Ba Hui, connects you to the heavens above. It's as though the head is suspended from the heavens. Imagine the spine hanging from the top of the head with the tailbone having a little weight. No tension in the stomach. No tension in the lower back. And the knees are not locked. We never want to lock the joints because that creates tension. Now trying to maintain the same slow, even rhythm of breathing, let your arms hang by your sides. Slowly swinging the arms, being aware of the fingertips and the elbows. I'm going to turn sideways briefly to show you just a different angle. So with the arms swinging, the movement is coming from the shoulder. Okay, the elbows can bend a little bit, but it's not this, where the upper arm doesn't move very much and all the movement comes in the elbows. This is not correct. You want to feel the whole arm. Feel the weight of your arm, like a swing on a swing set or pendulum. And the feet stay relaxed and the body is still. So we're relaxed, body's upright. First two principles while we're warming up the joints. Let your arms come to rest by your sides. The next basic movement pattern is crane takes flight. We bend the knees and hips, the palms face each other in front of the body. Again, I'm going to turn sideways briefly. So we bend the knees and hips just a little bit, again, keeping the body upright. So if you imagine that the head is suspended, the spine suspended and the tailbone having some weight. And what we do is as we straighten the legs, remember, don't lock the knees. We breathe in, the elbows feel heavy and the wrists just float up no higher than the shoulders. And then exhale, bending the knees and hips. And allow the elbows to feel heavy the whole time. So one of the wonderful things that we learn from Tai Chi is this ability to pay attention to several things simultaneously, right? Breath is relaxed, body's upright, head suspended, tailbone heavy, feet firmly rooted to the earth. Fingertips brushing the air. Remember, this is called crane takes flight. So this is the movement, really, of the arms. Okay, again, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see that by getting a little bit of bend in my hip joints as well as my knees, that allows me to keep the body upright. If I just bend the knees, I end up leaning forward. Or some people, that's if the lower back is tight. Some people will end up leaning back. Okay, so you got to get that little fold in the hip joint, just like if you're going to sit down. And the breath is relaxed, and the mind is relaxed, and the body's relaxed. And the next time we bend the knees and hips, we're going to stay down there. Okay, with the palms facing the floor. And you can do this exercise, with front assist. Actually, again, I'll turn sideways. And we start off by bending the knees and hips. So if you use anything for balance, I've recommended the kitchen counter. The fingertips just rest on that surface. You don't want to be leaning and holding on because, again, you want the weight evenly distributed over the whole foot and relaxed. So we're going to bend the knees and hips again from this position. Slowly sink the weight down into the center of one foot and then slowly sink the weight into the center of the other. So because your feet are hip width distance, when you shift the weight, you do move side to side. But internally, you want to think about that slinky, dropping into the center of one foot, dropping into the center of the other. And the elbows are heavy and the fingertips are light and the spine is suspended, just floating. And pay attention to the feet. The knees are pointed straight ahead. Imagine you have headlights on the knees. My master teacher, Mr. Lowe, would say, to keep the body aligned and not turn and twist the body, imagine that you have 3 pairs of eyes. Eyes, of course, here, another pair of eyes in the shoulders, and another pair of eyes in the hips. And all 3 pairs of eyes are always pointed to the same direction. That will become more important when we start turning. But for now, just relax that lower back, body's upright, and we're just separating the weight. Elbows feel heavy. So the 3 heavies are the knees feeling heavy, the tailbone feeling heavy, and the elbows feeling heavy. And the head is light, rising up. Your eyes are light and your hands are light. And both feet flat, like the foot is melded into the floor, and the only thing that changes is the amount of weight on the foot. Okay, and come back to center. So that was practicing separating the weight while we're hopefully staying relaxed, and keeping the body upright, okay? So body upright means not leaning to the front or the back, not leaning to the side when you shift the weight, okay? And of course, no twisting. So the next exercise in this section 1 is called stable and open while gathering the stars. So the stable and open portion is the foot and leg portion. And I want to do this separately so that we can really pay attention to the subtle changes going on. We start the same way. Bend the knees and hips a little bit, and then we shift the weight, shift down into the right foot. So remember we said waist is the commander, so loosely translated from the Chinese, people has been translated, the character has been translated to the waist. But what it really refers to is this whole area here, okay, front and back. So down here is the Tantien, an inch and a half below the navel, a third of the way inside the body from the front. And that's where the chi pools or collects before it circulates throughout the body. We can also think of that as just our physical center of gravity. And so we have more weight in the right foot, and then we turn that waist to the left, and we're pivoting from the center point of the heel and then turning back. So the waist turn is what's moving the foot. So we have to shift the weight. We have to get some weight off of the foot so that it can move. So first we shift the weight, then we turn the waist. And that's kind of the order of operations throughout the form. First we shift the weight, then we turn the waist. Now, if we're just pivoting on the heel, we don't have to shift 100%. We just have to have more weight on the other foot. Okay, so both feet stay flat. The knee of the weighted leg stays pointed straight ahead. Very important for the health of the knees. Okay, you don't want that knee wobbling. Okay, so the weighted leg, knee stays straight, shoulders and hips. Right, 3 pairs of eyes, 1, 2, 3, all pointed the same direction. Think about moving from here. Okay, that's the stable and open. One leg is stable while the other one opens, right? And then the gathering the stars, the arms are like this. Don't let the elbows hang too much. It's a little too collapsed. So you want the shoulders to stay relaxed, but imagine that the arms are floating on water. You're standing in water this high and the whole arm is just on the water. And we just inhale as the arms open and exhale as they close. Okay, and imagine really that you're in water or that the air has substance. And inhale and exhale. Remember, the knees are not locked. We'll do this once more and then we'll put it together. Okay, so bending the knees and hips, sinking the weight into the right foot, left foot's flat, left knee's point straight ahead. Inhale as you turn just a little bit to the left, the arms open. Exhale as you close. And shift the weight first down into the left foot, breathing in as you turn to the right, turning the toes out just a little bit, and then coming back. Remember, none of these exercises are range of motion. They're all coordination. Inhale and exhale. And the head is easing upward and the tailbone's heavy. And we're just shifting the weight and turning the waist. And turning to the left. And turning to the right. Inhale and exhale. And shift the weight. Turn. Try to maintain some awareness of that center where the Tantien is, below the navel and inside the body. And the foot is flat, just pivoting from the center of the heel, not going out too far. If I'm facing 12 now, on a clock, I turn to 1 and back, and to 11 and back. So now we're relaxed. We're keeping the body upright. We're separating the weight and we're moving so that the waist is the commander. The waist turn causes the arms and the feet or foot to change. Okay, come back to center. Now we're going to go into that last basic movement pattern, which is called bear walking. And in this one, we change the position of the feet. So the first, our feet were in point initially, and then our feet were hip width distance. And now we're going to be in what's called a 70-30. So the rear foot is going to be on the diagonal. Notice that my hands are, lined up with my shoulders here. And I turn the foot out. And when I make a step, I keep the distance between the feet, right? So you don't want to get any narrower. You don't want to, it's when the toes are turned out, it's very tempting to step in, but you don't want to do that. You need that broad base for balance and support. Okay, so from here, we bend the knees and hips, shift into the right foot, turn the left toes out to the diagonal a little bit, and then we're going to shift all the weight into the left foot. We're going to face front, So if you've turned out too much, I mean, we have the range of motion to turn out to 45 degrees or more. But then if I put my weight in that foot, I can't get my hips to the front without pulling on the knee. So remember, we've got to protect those knees, keeping the knees lined up with the toes. So just a little bit to the diagonal and then face front. Now we got to get all the weight on this leg. And again, for these, if you want to have any kind of side support, that's fine. And then you just take an empty step out, okay? And then when I tell you to, I go into drill sergeant mode. You shift the weight when I tell you to shift the weight. Then we bend the knees and hips, drop into the center of the front foot. And again, same thing when the feet were opposite one another. We're just shifting the weight, bending the knees and hips, keeping the body upright. Both hips, the joints are making these micro adjustments so that the hips stay level. Okay, so the hips are level, one with the other, on a plane that's parallel to the floor, parallel to the earth. Okay, and now just pay attention to the bottoms of the feet and visualize the center of the bottom of the foot. Again, I'm going to turn sideways. I've got to bend the rear hip joint as I sink into the center of the front foot. See how my body stays upright? So when I shift into my rear foot, the front hip joint has to bend too. And when I shift into the front foot, the rear hip joint has to bend too. Now what the arms do is as you drop into the front foot, the wrists just rise, the elbows feel heavy. And then when you're in the rear foot, elbows drop back. So just think about the elbows feeling heavy the whole time. And we breathe in as the wrists rise, and we breathe out as we shift into the rear foot. And inhale, the wrists no higher than the shoulders, and exhale. Because you don't want your center of gravity to come up. That's why we're shifting down into the foot. What we don't want to do, you don't want forward back. This is not correct. This is wrong. Okay, we're dropping into the center of the foot. That keeps us grounded. That keeps our center of gravity low. Okay. Inhale and exhale. I think am I on the correct side? I think so. Okay, now we're going to change sides all the way into the left foot. Bring the right foot straight back. And I'm going to step up a little bit. So now we're going to shift into the left foot. Turn to the right toes out. All the weights in the right foot. Okay, you can look at your feet when you take these steps and then step straight up with the left foot. Try not to put weight in it yet. And then as you shift the weight down into the center of the left foot, the wrists rise. And shift into the rear foot. And so now we're relaxed. The body's upright. We're separating the weight, and the waist is the commander. As we shift the weight, the waist moves to the front and the wrists rise. So again, that movement is what's causing the arms to change. Relax the belly, relax the back. Paying attention to the bottoms of the feet, making sure that when you shift into the left foot, that your weight does not go to the balls of the feet. We're relaxed and stable. Okay, now all the way into the right foot, pick up the left foot, bring it straight back, shift into the left foot, let your hips line up with the right, turn the waist, and maybe you made it back to the 50-50. Adjust your feet if needed. Okay, so let's take a short break, walk around, get a drink of water if you like, and I'm going to go ahead and just demonstrate all these basic movement patterns seated. Okay, so again, we start out in point, feet are in a small V. Right, and then we move to the relaxed breathing. So when you're seated, the alignment are the knees are lined up with the hips, the center of the knee joint lined up with the center of the hip joint, The ankle is directly under the knee, okay? Feet pointed straight ahead, and that's how you get your feet hip width distance. So we have the relaxed breathing. We have arms swinging. Now we can't do bending the knees and hips when we're seated because we're already seated. But we can do bare rooting. Placing the hands here or here or here. And notice that I'm shifting with my sits bone. So my upper body is light and it stays pretty stable without feeling rigid. Belly is soft, and I'm just separating the weight. And gathering the stars. Again, I shift into the left, into the right sits bone to turn out to the left. And then I shift in to the left to turn to the right. So that's how we do it seated. And then the last one, when we're seated, turning the toes out, stepping out. So we're in that 70, 30. Most of the weight's on my rear foot. And when I shift the weight, I bend at the hips. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what that looks like. Because when you're on the very edge of a chair, whether it's the corner, you do have some weight on your feet. So just hinging at the hips, the weight goes into my front foot, and then it goes back into my rear foot. So when you're seated, you're going to hinge forward, and then when the body's upright, you're fine. You don't go back. Okay? All right. So let me just check and see if there are any questions. Doesn't look like there are any questions. So we're going to go ahead and do our form work. Okay, so another word about the bottom of the foot. So as I've said, this is the area that's the bubbling well, the Yung Chuan. And when I say turn from the center of the heel, it's from this point because that keeps the foot parallel with the floor. Okay, so we, pivot on the heel that way, right? So again, I'm going to do the mirror image and we'll work on the first part. So again, from point, knees not locked. Imagine that the head is easing upward, suspended from above. Spine floats and the tailbone has a little bit of weight. Knees are not locked. Let your knees feel heavy. Tailbone feels heavy and the elbows feel heavy. Chin is neutral, not down here because then the vertebrae here are compressed. They're not up there. I mean, the head's suspended, but you don't want to lift the chin up. So if the head is suspended from the crown, you can grab a few hairs there and pull up. The chin just goes into a nice natural place. Relax the belly, no tension in the stomach. Relax the lower back. And begin bending the knees and hip, sinking all the way into the right foot. Step out with the left foot, hip width distance, the toes point straight ahead. Don't shift the weight yet. And then as you shift down into the center of the left foot, your hips rotate to line up with the right foot. Okay, now you turn to the front, pivoting on the center of the right heel. Turn to the front, shift to the middle, and as you rise, the arms change into the Wuchi position. So check your feet, make sure you stepped correctly and adjust them. You always want to start from a good foundation. Now turn sideways to show you that arm position again for the Wuchi. Shoulder, elbow, roughly lined up with the torso. And then the elbows bend slightly. And now we have that lady's beautiful hand. Energy out the tips of the fingers. Okay? And beginning with preparation, think about your elbows feeling heavy. Maybe helium balloons tied to the wrists, and the wrists just float up. The elbows are bent slightly, the wrists are shoulder high and shoulder width. Again, I'll turn sideways so you can see. Then the elbows sink a little bit, and that's what brings the hands up flat. Keep the hands high. And now the elbows fold, the elbows feel heavy, the wrists slide towards the shoulders, get to a comfortable stopping point, and then relax the wrists. And the fingers point down a little bit, like a puppy begging. And the elbows sink, the wrists sink. The hand kind of rolls like it's rolling down a log. And the fingers rise slightly. and back to Uchi. Okay, so we're going to do that opening movement again. Breathing in as the wrists rise, then just breathing naturally. Second time the wrists change, the palms face the floor. Third time the wrists slide towards the shoulders and relax. And the elbows sink, the wrists sink, the fingertips ease upward a little bit, and then we're back to the Uchi position. Now we're going to go into ward off left side. Okay, so bend the knees and hips, shift into the left foot. Turn to the right, turn the right toes out a little bit, and as you do, we're forming a ball with the right hand on top. Now the head's floating up, bend the knees and hips, sink all the way into the right foot. Keep your hips lined up with the right foot. Take a step with the left foot. Again, it needs to be an empty step, so it's not going to be too long. And then bend the knees and hips, sinking most of your weight into the center of the left foot. You haven't turned the waist yet. Now, turn to the front and change the hands. The left hand comes up along the center line, turns and faces the sternum. Right hand goes down the center line. So this is ward off left side. The left palm is facing the sternum. Now again, the whole arm is floating. Don't let the elbow collapse down. So there's energy and the body is awake. The arm is awake. Okay. Now we're going to bend the knees and hips, and as we sink into the right foot, the right elbow bends. Okay, now the left hand stays out there. As we shift again into the center of the left foot, the right hand comes to the inside of the left hand. Okay, so the left palm is facing you and the right palm is away. Okay, now the left hand turns down towards the floor and up. Hands are touching. The right hand wipes off the back of the left. The hands separate. Fingertips shoulder high, shoulder width. Bend the knees and hips as you shift into the rear foot. The hands come towards the shoulders. And then release the push. Okay, shift all the way into the right foot. Bring the left foot back. Walk around a little bit. Maybe get a drink of water. I'm going to go get my water. And we'll repeat that. So I want to just go over the arms a little bit. So, when we're in point, the arms are relaxed by our sides. When we're in Wu Chi, the arms wake up. Okay, that's the Wu Chi position. Preparation, right? And then when we hold the ball, hands are on the center line. Bottom hand is below the navel, across from the Tantien. The right hand, when we turn to the right hand's on top. To change the hands move along the center line. Left hand comes up, facing the body. Right hand goes down out to Wu Chi. So we still have that straight wrist. And then when we shift into the right foot, the right hand comes up. When we shift into the front foot, the right hand comes to the inside of the left, and the angle is open a little bit. Now notice the palms are roughly across from the center of the sternum, that heart-lung area. Always protecting that. So when you see, I'm going to turn this upright so you can see that where the fingers meet is right on my center line, protecting the heart and lungs, okay? So my left palm is facing me. The hands keep contact. Left hand turns down and up. The right hand wipes off the back. The hands separate. So when the hands separate, I'm like this. And then as I shift down into the rear foot, the elbows feel heavy, they bend, and that brings the hands towards my shoulders. Don't lower the hands. And then you release the push, the waist shifting, okay? And we don't want to overextend the arms. This is like an equilateral triangle, top knuckle across from the shoulder, okay? All right, so we'll do it once more facing you, and then I'll turn around. So feet are in a small V. Relax. Relax the belly, relaxing the breath. And bending the knees and hips, shift all the weight into the right foot. Step out with the left foot, hip width distance, the toes point straight ahead. Shift down into the left, let the hips rotate and line up with the right foot. Turn to the front, pivoting on the center of the right heel, shift to the middle. And as you rise, don't lock the knees, and the arms change into that Wuchi position. And breathing in as the wrists rise. Then the palms face the floor. Then the wrists slide towards the shoulders and relax. Wrists sink. Fingers float up slightly. Back to Wuchi. Ward off left side. Bend the knees and hips. Shift into the left foot. Turn to the right. Turn the right toes out a little bit. Hold the ball. The right hand's on top. Keeping the wrists straight. All the way down into the right foot. Step out with the left foot. Look if you need to. Make sure the outside of the left foot has good contact with the floor. Then bend the knees and hips. Shift into the center of the left foot. Keeping the weight on the left leg. Turn the waist. Change the hands. Bottom hand comes up. Top hand goes down. This is ward off left side. Shift down into the right foot. The right hand comes up. Shift down into the left foot. The right hand comes to the inside of the left. This is press. Okay. Now the left hand turns down and up and separate. Shift the weight and release the push. Now all the weight into the right foot. Bring the left foot back. Okay, I'm going to turn around. We'll do this together twice, and then I'll add the transition posture. So from point, again, when you're in point, the knees are not locked, feet relaxed, toes relaxed, head suspended, tailbone heavy. And begin. Bending the knees and hips all the way into the right foot. Step out with the left foot, toes straight ahead, get your hip width distance. Then as you shift into the left foot, your hips line up with the right foot. Turn to the front, pivoting on the center of the right heel, shift to the middle. And as you rise, the arms change into the Wuchi posture. The knees should not be locked. Tip of the tongue gently touching the roof of the mouth. Breath, mind, body relaxed. And then preparation, breathing in as the wrists rise, the elbows feel heavy. 2, the palms face the floor. 3, the wrists slide towards the shoulders and relax. 4, the elbows sink, the wrists sink, the fingers float up gently. 5th time the wrists change, we're back to Wuchi. Ward off left side. Bending the knees and hips sink into the center of the left foot. Turning to the right, turn the right toes out just a little bit, forming the ball. Right hand's on top, wrists straight, fingertips open. All the way down into the right foot. Keep your hips lined up with the right foot. This is different than the exercise. Take the step with the left foot. You shift your weight down into the center of the left foot while your hips are lined up with the right foot. So first we shift the weight, then we turn the waist and change the hands. Keeping most of the weight in the left foot. Left hand rises, ward off left side, right arm's in Wuchi. As we sink into the right foot, the right hand comes up. As we shift into the left, the right hand comes to the inside of the left. Left hand turns down and up, the hands separate, shift the weight, and release the push. Shift into the right foot. We're going to do that once more, and this time we're going to continue. I'll talk you through the transition to ward off right side. And begin. Shift into the right foot. Step out with the left foot. Shift the weight. Hips line up with the right foot. Turn to the front, pivoting on the right heel. Shift to the middle. Rise into the Wuchi position. Preparation. Breathing in as the wrists rise. Palms face the floor. Wrists slide towards the shoulders. Relax. Elbows and wrists sink. Back to Wuchi. Ward off left side. Bend the knees and hips, shift into the left foot. Turn to the right, turn the right toes out, forming the ball. All the weights into the right foot. Take the step with the left foot. First, we shift the weight. Your hips are still lined up with the right foot. Then we turn the waist, change the hands. Left hand comes up, ward off left, right hand goes down. Shift into the right foot, the right hand comes up, the left hand stays out there. Shift into the left foot, right hand comes to the inside of the left. This is press. Left hand turns down and up, the hands separate. Shift the weight, and shift the weight. Okay, now to change sides, I'm going to Step back a little bit. We shift down into the right foot, and as we shift into the right foot, the elbows bend a little bit, bringing the hands towards the shoulders. Now turn to the left, turning the left toes out, and the right hand drops down. So when we turn to the left, we form the ball with the left hand on top. Now shift all the way into the left foot. Step with the right foot. Okay, maintain your hip width distance. The right toes point straight ahead. And now shift down into the right foot. Turn the waist. Change the hands. The right hand comes up. The left hand goes down. So now we're in ward off right side. Shift into the left hand comes up. Shift into the right hand comes to the inside of the, left hand comes to the inside of the right hand turns down and up, the hands separate, shift the weight, and shift the weight. Okay, now to finish first circle, we shift all the way into the right foot, step up with the left foot, shift into the middle, and as we rise, the arms change into the Wuchi posture. Again, the knees should not be locked, feet should be parallel, hip width distance, adjust them if you need to. Spend a moment here in the Wuchi position. And then to close, we go back to point. Bend the knees and hips, shift into the left foot, turn to the right toes out a little bit, all the way into the right foot, pick up the left foot, bring it in, and we're back to point. So this first third is called first circle because we can end where we started. I'm just going to check the time, see where we are. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. Let's do that once more, all facing the same direction, okay? And I'll just check the chat. No questions, okay. Take the time to settle breath, mind, and body. And begin. The head is floating up, but we bend the knees and hips, sinking into the center of the right foot. Step out with the left foot, shift the weight, the hips line up with the right foot, turn the waist pivoting on the right heel, shift to the middle, rise into the Wuchi position. In preparation, 1, the wrists rise, 2, the palms face the floor, 3rd time the wrists change, the wrists slide towards the shoulders, relax. 4th time, the wrists sink, fingers float up slightly. 5, we're back to Wuchi. Ward off left, shift down into the left foot, turn to the right toes out a little bit, forming the ball, the right hand's on top. When you turn to the right, shift the weight, take your step, shift the weight into the left foot, most of the weight's in the left leg, turn the waist, change the hands. Left hand comes up, right hand goes down. Shift into the right foot, the right hand comes up. Shift into the left, right hand comes to the inside of the left. Left hand turns down and up, the hands separate. Shift down into the center of the right foot, the hands come towards the shoulders. And go ahead and release the push. Shift down into the right foot, the hands come towards the shoulders. Turn to the left toes out. Now we form the ball with the left hand on top. When you turn to the left hand's on top. Shifting all the way into the left foot so you can place the right foot. Then shift down into the center of the right foot. Most of the weight's on the right leg. Turn the waist, changing the hands. Now we're in ward off right side. Right palm facing the sternum, left arm in Wuchi. Shift into the left foot, the left hand comes up. Shift into the right, left hand comes to the inside of the right hand. Right hand turns down and up, the hands separate. Shift the weight, and shift the weight. All the weight into the right foot, step up with the left, back to Wuchi, adjust your feet if you need to. We'll hold Wuchi briefly. Standing in the Wuchi posture is an important part of the Tai Chi practice, the standing meditation. Tip of the tongue, gently touching the roof of the mouth, head easing upward, feet relaxed, rooted to the earth. And to close, we bend the knees and hips, shifting into the left foot, turn to the right toes out slightly, all the way into the right foot, face front. Pick up the left foot, bring it in. There we are. And thank you.